Based on the results of our reinvestigation into the failed rebellion 20 years ago, we've confirmed that a person who was arrested along with Michiba, but who was found innocent and set free, is living right here in Veritable. At the moment, I'm on my way to meet with this person. Considering who it is, there's a very good chance that certain people will try to stop me. I don't care who, but I want one of you to come to Veritable Station on the double.
This is really strange. It's way past the meeting time, but nobody's here. Here comes someone.
I'm sorry to make you go to all the trouble of coming here.
Not at all.
I believe you already know what this is about and why I wanted to meet with you. Would you be so kind as to tell me about the failed rebellion 20 years ago? I'm aware that you and General Michiba were arrested and that he was sent to jail.
Chief, heads up. A bunch of people packing some nasty weapons just entered the station. They mean business.
It's too dangerous to stay. Go through the turnstile on the first floor and go outside. Keep her safe no matter what. Is that clear?
Roger.
group of shutters are closed!
Can't you open them from a terminal?
It's no use! All the nearby terminals are destroyed! Oh, a terminal on the other side of the tracks is still working! What luck!
All right, use the functioning terminal to open the shutters and secure an escape route. Be quick about it.
Roger.
In other words, stay here and hold down the fort.
Madam, you're not hurt, I take it.
No.
I'm sorry to be abrupt. I need to know if you have any idea who those people were.
Sir, I've been retired for 20 years now, and all that time I've kept my mouth shut and haven't uttered a word about what happened. I don't have the faintest clue as to who would risk getting into such trouble over me holding my silence.
True, you may not know anything definite, but perhaps you have some information that you might not be aware of. Maybe you have important documents of some sort that have to do with the incident that took place 2 decades ago. Oh, I see. Then under those circumstances, do you know anything about an organization called the Sininkai?
The Sininkai? That was the name of Mr. Michiba's personal study group.
Excuse me? Did you say study group?
I did. After all these years, my memory is a bit rusty and I don't remember the details. But the topic of discussion was always the same. It never changed. What I do recall is that the unwavering theme was symbiosis in the far north. Needless to say, I'm curious. Why are you suddenly interested in the Sininkai now? Broke up after Mr. Michiba passed away. I don't think the group even exists any longer.
Symbiosis in the far north.
Section 9's wiretap net caught a call originating from a public terminal at a restaurant in the high-rise district. The call was made to a public terminal located in the low-rise district. 2 key phrases that were monitored during the conversation were Sininkai and wait at the museum. At present, old weapons from World War III are on display in an outdoor exhibit at the museum, so entry to the site by unauthorized personnel is prohibited. Get to the museum first, apprehend anyone who appears, and then extract information from them. Furthermore, although it's unclear why the person who used the keyword Sininkai deliberately chose the museum, we cannot deny the possibility that it's a trap represented by that keyword. When you make your equipment selection, make sure you prepare for the unexpected.
These are really old tanks. What do you think they would be in our family tree? Maybe they're our great-great-grandparents.
Our great-great-grandparents? Wow, I want to meet them.
Don't you think we should call them uncles or aunts instead of grandparents? After all, those tanks are a model made before we were equipped with AIs, right? Gigabachi? Hi, Mr. Gigabachi!
Gigabachi?
I don't know. A warning, maybe.
I'm sending all remaining Tachikomas to them. Retrieve all of the runaway weapons before the police arrive.
If you don't mind, I'd like to go back to the hangar for maintenance, too.
Fine, once the mission's over.
Robots need love, too!
Like the chief says, this was a trap set by someone who obviously doesn't want Section 9 sniffing around.
And this mysterious someone is apparently able to start up tanks and send up gigabachis. Quite a skill.
The only ones able to do that are in the military.
Has Kusumoto explained it?
Yes, I received a reply from him. He said that he's unable to take my call because it's a day before the ceremony.
So, do you suppose we're correct in thinking that the Senninkai equals the 27th Division?
Yeah, all the more so considering that the name Senninkai comes from the name of General Michiba's personal study group.
Kanbei said that there was suspicion of a diversion of weapons going on between Chiri and the 27th Division, right?
That's right.
And don't forget, Chiri had a disc in his possession that he distributed to the members of the Senninkai. If you take this into account, it becomes perfectly clear that Chiri was either a Senninkai member or he was closely connected to them. However, something tells me that it's too much of a coincidence that they were involved in a weapons diversion scheme with the 27th Division.
Or what about this? It's also possible they've been arranging weapons diversions under the guise of Michiba's personal study group ever since he was here 20 years ago. Don't you think that probably has something to do with why Kanbei's been hot on the trail of this little matter?
That's one theory. On the other hand, according to military intelligence, they haven't conclusively proved that any weapons have even been diverted.
What do you mean?
They've investigated the inner workings of the 27th Division for years. Even if there was improper activity, they'd never spot discrepancies between the number of weapons that the books show had been allocated to the division and those they actually had. That would prove that weapons were being diverted.
So you're saying that the numbers matched up?
On the contrary, they have more. Regulations say that weapons and ammunition past their service lifespan are to be collected by the proper company reps and disposed of. But Kusumoto put off their disposal, calling it saving for a rainy day.
But couldn't he be using that to cover the diverted weapons?
Military intelligence thought the same thing, but when they did an unannounced investigation, they were able to account for all weapons and ammunition.
Two choices. Either the weapons were being diverted in the first place, or they beat military intelligence to the punch.
I can't say one way or the other.
Assuming for the moment that the Senninkai is an organization that's been using the Yakuza as a relay point to divert weapons for years, how do you intend to tie in the Hiruma assassination?
Good question.
But there's one other thing that's got me worried. Those think tank parts we discovered in the containers.
While I was doing some research, I dove Kinbishi, the company that developed the Tachikomas, and turned up something interesting. Apparently, there was a prototype for the Tachikoma.
What do you mean, a prototype? Nobody told me about that.
You're saying that the components for this prototype are the think tank parts we pulled out of those containers?
Yeah, but there's no way to be sure. According to an engineer who was involved in the development of it, the prototype didn't get green-lighted. In fact, it was supposed to have been scrapped.
Supposed to? They're not sure?
I tried to get confirmation from a scientist by the name of Sakata, who was in charge of the disposal. But unfortunately, he's been missing ever since he resigned for personal reasons. By the way, this Sakata guy was also involved in the development of the Tachikoma's bio-AI chips.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You mean there's a chance that this man Sakata ran off with the prototype Tachikoma instead of scrapping it?
Well, for lack of a better explanation, that's the most plausible one I can come up with at the moment. Oh, and get this. The day that Sakata resigned was the day after Michiba was arrested. There's no way to tell if it's merely a coincidence or not.
All right, for the sake of argument, let's assume that the black Tachikoma and the think tank parts we got from the containers were embezzled by that Sakata guy. That doesn't explain why the prototype was working with that little girl, the one who tried to assassinate Hiruma with the anti-material rifle. And why did it help a Yakuza like Chiri?
And a little girl who can wave that cannon of a gun around like it was nothing is a mystery all on her own.
I guess we hit a dead end. We've got plenty of dots on the paper, but I don't see any hint of a line to connect them all and form a picture of what's going on.
We still haven't discovered the one common thread that links them to the assassination of former cabinet minister Hiruma. But it's clear that the ideological keywords Michiba and Seninkai have a significant connection to the incident. We just need to find the key to this puzzle. At any rate, I'm sure it's a safe bet to assume that the 27th Division is connected in some way to the entire string of incidents.
I agree with you on that count. And here's something else. Do you remember the words, Shisamu has come again, Uko-charanke is out of the question?
Yeah, they're words in the ultra-high-frequency conversation that the Tachikoma overheard.
I wanted to find out what those meant, so I went back through their memories. It turns out that these are old words which have been handed down in this region. Uko-charanke means discussion. Shisamu means person from Honshu. In other words, people from Honshu have come. Discussion is out of the question.
In other words, they're feeling pretty gung-ho.
Our primary objective on this assignment is to prevent the assassination of former Cabinet Minister Hiruma. In order to accomplish that, we first need to uncover anything having to do with the 27th Division.
So what's the plan? I ask even though I think I know what you're going to say.
Isn't it obvious? We're gonna take it to the military.
This is it! The time has arrived! We're about to infiltrate the 27th Division's base! Comrades, are you ready?
Okay with me, but what are we gonna do there again?
We're gonna do an undercover investigation, of course!
Do you think we're bringing too many weapons for an infiltration mission? We might get into trouble with the Major.
Silence, cowards! Can you call yourself think tanks? We're about to step into the field of battle! Follow me into the depths of hell and redeem your honor!
Cool speech!
Isn't it, though? What lies before us is a crucial situation in which our values will be put to the test. Comrades, don't count on coming back alive!
Fight till there's no life left in ya! No mercy, let's rumble! We're gonna show 'em our tank spirit! Yeah!
Our plan is laid out. We will infiltrate the headquarters of the 5th Army's 27th Division. What are they up to using the Seninkai as a cover? We need evidence that can be used against them. Bring back something that'll be instrumental in their incrimination.
Something like what?
Anything.
Time is of the essence. We don't have any to spare. The parade is set to begin in approximately 15 hours. In order to make certain that this infiltration is successful, we will need to carry out our various assigned duties concurrently. Each of us will be assigned a separate task within the mission. Just remember, be careful out there.
A solo assault without backup, huh?
We're up against soldiers. That'll make you feel better about pulling the trigger, right?
Oh man, this is one heartless job.
In order to guarantee our infiltration of the base, destroy the core of the automatic security system that covers the entire installation of the 27th Division. The system is spread across 3 locations. Unless all 3 are destroyed at the same time, a separate system will activate to increase the alert level. There's a good chance that the enemy will close off your escape route if you fail to blow up all 3 locations simultaneously. Be careful. We prepared 3 explosive devices, time bombs, that are set to go off 1 minute apart. These have been handed off to the Tachikoma. You must work in conjunction with the Tachikoma to carry out the mission.
Still, it's hard to believe that we're using time bombs in this day and age.
Radio signals are jammed in the area around the security system terminals, so I'm assuming that they are protected by a super A-class barrier. I've concluded that a time bomb model would be most effective.
Well, what if we link them with wire to do a simultaneous detonation?
And drag around hundreds of meters of wire? Now, quit your chattering and get moving.
In the event that one of the explosive devices is a dud, how should we proceed? I think the most effective thing to do would be for us to retouch comas to access the security system simultaneously. In other words, stay here and hold down the fort. Wait for me, I'll go with you. In other words, stay here and hold down the fort. for this mission seems awfully arbitrary to me. Who knows? Maybe the mission itself is unreasonably far along.